Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Saturday evening, January the 18th. Just wanted to give a kind of a quick update on the storm system that will impact the Mid-Atlantic region and the northeastern U.S. with some accumulating snow on Sunday into Sunday night. I continue to believe that there will be accumulating snow along the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City. Generally 3 to 6 inches in the D.C. metro region, 4 to 8 inches in Philly and New York City, and those higher amounts in those ranges will be on the northwestern side of the metro areas and lower amounts to the southeastern side of those metro areas. It does taper off as you get down to the coastline, probably talking a 1 to 3 inch type snowfall across the southern New Jersey coastline, for example. Now, the one area of interest here that could kind of be an overachiever, that could have isolated higher amounts than 8 inches or so, let's say up to 10 inches or so, just to the northwest of Philadelphia, pretty much in this zone right here. This is kind of an area of interest I'll be watching tomorrow for the possible development of some heavier snow bands. We'll go over one of the reasons why by looking at what we call Frontogenesis field, and it'll become quite strong right in this zone right here to the north, just to the north and west of Philadelphia, and to the north and west of New York City. Again, generally 4 to 8 inches across Philadelphia and New York City, but could be isolated higher amounts right in this zone right here. Maybe even some thunder snow during the latter part of the day on Sunday into Sunday evening. By the way, all the way up to Boston, probably a 4 to 8 inch snowfall as well. So really the entire I-95 corridor from D.C. to Boston gets in on the action tomorrow and tomorrow night. Now let's start off here with a look at the old-fashioned, the conventional surface map as depicted here by NOAA's Weather Prediction Center for 7 o'clock this evening. This cold frontal system right here is a key, obviously a key player in this whole setup for Sunday and Sunday night and beyond, by the way, because that is represents the leading edge of a widespread Arctic air mass that is enveloping the nation, and by the time we get to Monday, it'll be basically bitterly cold from coast to coast. This Arctic front slides across the Mid-Atlantic region in the late night hours, and you'll notice a wind shift in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City to a northwesterly direction by the time we get to the wee hours of the morning into the early morning, and that Arctic air will begin to slowly filter in and become a key player for the day on Sunday. Now, the precipitation could start in the morning in the D.C. metro region, possibly rain, but it should change over to snow and potentially heavy snow at times later in the day into early tomorrow night. Most of the storm, if not all of it, I think will be in the form of snow across Philadelphia. Certainly can be snowing even heavy at times during the Eagles game, which begins at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And most of the storm, if not all of it, snow up across New York City as well. And again, they'll end up getting significant snow all the way up into the Boston area. So the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philly to New York City to Boston, all in on the action Sunday and Sunday night. Of course, this leads to another major story here. That Arctic front slides on by, and once the low pressure area moves on by, it really starts to push in by Sunday night into Monday, and we'll have temperatures down near zero in many parts of the I-95 corridor region Monday night, Tuesday night, even into Wednesday night. Certainly 0 to 5 degrees above on the table for D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. Now, as far as the low pressure area goes, I believe by tomorrow morning this low pressure system will be centered right here over Georgia and end up probably just off the New Jersey coastline by the time we get to Sunday evening. Far enough to the south and east for the bulk of this to be snow in a place like Philadelphia and New York City. And if it does begin as rain in D.C., it should change over to snow as that system moves off to its east and off to the New Jersey coastline by the time we get to Sunday evening. Well, let's take a look here at the 18Z GFS snowfall forecast over the next few days. Originally, the GFS did not capture this low pressure system for Sunday well at all. In fact, it had virtually no system at all until a couple of days ago. But I think once it has caught on, it's handling the situation quite well, and I tend to agree with the snowfall output that it's putting for the Mid-Atlantic region, the Northeast U.S. We'll go through. This is now into midday on Sunday, and then here we go by Sunday evening, later on Sunday night, and finally by Monday morning. And again, I'm thinking I'm in agreement with this general scenario here by the GFS here. Again, this is the 18Z run of the GFS. 3 to 6 inches maybe in DC, 4 to 8 in New York City and Philadelphia. And again, if there's going to be an overachieving area, it's just to the west of Philadelphia, up across interior northwest New Jersey into the southeastern part of New York, 4 to 8 inches across the Boston metro area as well. Now, let's move forward a couple of days here because it's quite an amazing system setting up for later Tuesday into Wednesday. Specifically, take a look at this area right here. This is Tuesday evening into overnight hours and finally into Wednesday morning. We'll go a little farther in time, and this is quite impressive indeed. When you're getting accumulating snow from Houston across to New Orleans, Tallahassee, and then up across the Carolina coastline here, that is what is in store for the Tuesday-Wednesday system. We could end up having snowfall in very unusual places. Again, Houston to New Orleans, Tallahassee, maybe Myrtle Beach can end up with accumulating snow. This is that Tuesday to Wednesday storm system. Really, it originates in the Gulf and tends to move in this direction and may take an attempt up the coast here, but right now it looks like it stays just to the south and east of the Mid-Atlantic region by the time we get to Wednesday, but it's not written off completely yet. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But really, two stories of interest right now: the Mid-Atlantic Northeast U.S. getting accumulating snow Sunday into Sunday night, and then the Tuesday-Wednesday system way down in the southern states from Texas to northern Florida to the Carolinas. Well, let's walk through the Frontogenesis field here. This is kind of an area in the upper part of the atmosphere that has kind of frontal characteristics. And when you get strong Frontogenesis at the 700 millibar level, for example, you can really set up with mesoscale, what we call mesoscale or small scale, heavier snow bands during a snow situation. We'll just walk through this over the next several hours and then get into the midday on Sunday. And this is the area of interest right here, midday on Sunday. And then by the time we get to the evening hours, notice this particular area right here. And this can lead to some heavier snow bands right along this Frontogenesis zone here, southeastern Pennsylvania, up across northern New Jersey, especially interior northern New Jersey, southeastern New York, and all the way into the heart of New England. So this is an area that can be kind of an overachiever, let's say, on the high end of those snow accumulation forecast maps, just to the north and west of Philadelphia, let's say Chester County, and north and east into northern New Jersey, and then southeastern New York. Even the possibility of some thunder snow associated with this particular uplift in the atmosphere, this particular Frontogenesis zone here. Again, we're looking at the 700 millibar level. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps, again using the 18Z run of the GFS model here. And we have this cold frontal system that is slowly sliding to the south and east, and the fact that it is stalling out, especially over the Tennessee Valley, is allowing this wave of low pressure to form right along that boundary zone, that temperature gradient zone. You see these dashed lines right here. This is the frontal boundary zone right here, and with a temperature gradient zone like that, that tends to lead to low level convergence, with in turn leads to some upward motion, and you have your surface low formation here. By the time we get to early tomorrow, that storm is starting to intensify. Notice a 1007, a 1007 millibar low at this time, 7 a.m. on Sunday, right along that incoming Arctic front. Now also notice up here, you're starting to get that colder air already moving in aloft by early in the morning across the Mid-Atlantic region. And then that low continues to intensify, moves towards the eastern part of North Carolina. Snow breaks out early in the day across the D.C. metro region. Again, it could start as rain and then change over to snow. And then by later in the afternoon, it kind of explodes up across eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey. And that storm itself intensified from that 1007 low down here to a 998 low just off the Georgia coastline by 7 p.m. tomorrow night. And all of this is quite healthy snowfall right in this region right here by later in the afternoon into the early evening. Could be a very interesting snow game in Philadelphia, South Philly from starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, watch out in this area right in here for some heavier snow bands later on tomorrow, and even the possibility of some thunder snow. Now we'll move forward a little bit here, and it moves rather quickly to the north and east, but hits New England with accumulating snow as well into the overnight hours, and finally by Monday morning off to the north and east. And very, very cold air floods the Mid-Atlantic region. Again, that could lead to temperatures dropping down to 0 to 5 degrees above Monday night, Tuesday night, even Wednesday night, even into the I-95 corridor region. Then we move forward in time, and attention turns by the time we get to Tuesday. Look at this, all the way down at South Texas, snow, ice, and that can spread from places like Houston to New Orleans in Louisiana, all the way into northwestern Florida, the Florida Panhandle. You can get some snow and ice across Georgia into the Carolinas. So this will be a news-making event down across the southern states in that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. It probably continues to move to the east-northeast, but we'll monitor that over the next couple of days. So two big events coming up in terms of snowfall. One tomorrow and tomorrow night, the Mid-Atlantic, the northeastern U.S., and that includes the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philly to New York City to Boston. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, a southern storm system with snow possible from Texas all the way to the Carolinas, and some of that snow and ice could impact northern Florida as well. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.